Wouldn't this video expose rough sleepers' illegal use of town council's properties though? Apply rental flat but still can afford to drive BMW. Power lah, Roselan and Rahman.
It seems these homeless only have themselves to blame.
Hi, my name is Dynn.
Hello, my name is Yuxin and I am the lead producer for the TV series Homeless in Singapore. When I first started on the production, I had the same stereotype that many have. I thought that the homeless was of a certain demographic. For example, Madam Yo was really shocking for me. I didn't quite imagine that someone of her age, an 82-year-old lady, could be homeless. And also profiles like Darius, Nabila and Raihan. I would never imagine young people like them to be homeless as well.
I may act happy in school and all, but then they themselves know that inside my heart, I'm always unstable. It's been a lot lah.
I never thought that there are homeless people and there is also poverty in Singapore. In Singapore, those who end up homeless either make very bad decisions or have mental illness. We really wanted to do this documentary because we felt that it was important to break any stereotypes or misconceptions that we might have about the homeless. A lot of people think that homeless people might have made a mistake in their life or might have done something wrong. One thing that we took away from our experience as a team really is that many times homelessness is a result of many different personal but deep-seated issues that have accumulated over many years. Susana and her family had become homeless because they had to leave an abusive family. For Mr. Hamad and Roselan, one of the contributing factors was actually their divorce, but really homelessness can happen to anyone. We spoke to about 30 homeless people in total and we ended up with about 6 profiles.
And the groundwork that we did involved walking the street with the befrienders who work with homeless people a lot, which was how we found Hamad.
You're always free to call us. The number is on the back here lah.
Every night walk is an average of about 3 to 4 hours and I think it came up to about 30 hours or so in total.
Hi, good evening. So sorry to disturb you.
We also visited quite a number of temporary shelters called S3Ps.
Come in.
Another way is through transitional shelters. We spoke with them to shortlist some of the potential profiles. The team and I had a requirement that we wanted the identities to be shown on the documentary, and that was something that was hard to persuade homeless people to do. So for example, we really had to respect Madam Yo's partner's, Mr. Ho's decision not to be part of the documentary. Having someone who is going through a difficult part of their lives to share their story publicly, it really takes a lot of courage and it really isn't easy at all. We filmed with the 6 profiles over the course of 5 months. Many times it would be hard to reach them. Some of them might be busy with housing appointments, visits with their social workers, or simply to make ends meet. For our profiles, there might be other changes in their lives that might affect shoots. For example, Darius, after shooting with him for a few weeks, he suddenly got discharged from the temporary shelter.
Then you put another leg over here. Then you jump over like you're sitting now on this bench.
Within this 1.5 months, there were just too many incidents, too many infringes. So the key thing that I wanted to discuss with you today is that we will discharge him.
So the team really had to pivot very quickly and see how we can continue tracking his journey. After leaving the S3P, Darius was transitioning between friends' houses. We had to look for public places like playgrounds and parks to film with him.
Wouldn't this video expose rough sleepers' illegal use of town council's properties though? We made sure that by the time the show aired, the rough sleepers would have already found an alternative place to keep their stuff or they were already sleeping somewhere else. For example, with Hamad, he had already emptied out the cage that he had been using to store his belongings in. By the time the show aired, he had already moved into the bird shed. All these homeless folks who are rough sleeping, they're actually very savvy in terms of having to deal with constantly changing situations and looking for ways to adapt.
Raihan plus family, I applaud their courage for saying no to the abusive person and leaving without bringing much with them. So during shoot, there are times where emotions run high. During interviews with Susana and Nabila, there are many times where they got really emotional. And during the shoot, Susana said this.
As a mother, you want to give the best for your children. But when you become a homeless, all your mental thinking like it's draining, eating you up.
It really sent chills down my spine because I could really feel the extent of the pain. The interviews would get heart-wrenching, and as a producer, I have to be very mindful and sensitive about how I continue the interview. Another thing that I learned while doing this shoot is that I really have to manage my emotions more consciously. I remember with Darius, many times I really wanted to help him, but I was very mindful that I had to let him work with his social workers and other forms of support to get the help that he truly needs.
Mr. Hamad has a strong mind and I admire his survival skills. When you start following these people, around on their daily lives, you realize that there are a lot of things that they kind of have to figure out as a result of not having a home, and they had to basically hack their way through homelessness. With Roselan, he's working as a delivery rider. He had to go and look for electrical outlets that he could use to basically charge his handphone and his e-scooter. Between 7 AM and 7 PM, Roselan had to charge his devices outdoors based on his knowledge of the streets.
Restoran Faida ni memang 24 jam. Sini banyak kawan-kawan Roselan yang kerja malam. Jadi sambil diorang 24 hour kat sini, diorang boleh tengokkan juga.
Very often, after getting to know them, our ideas about them would change.
Apply rental flat but still can afford to drive BMW. Power lah this Roselan and Rahman. So I think this comment about the BMW illustrates very well why we shouldn't assume things when it comes to the homeless. Rahman rented the BMW so that he could work as a private hire driver, and renting that BMW would basically give him access to premium rides, which pay a lot more than like the normal rides that you get if you were to drive a normal car.
I agree about Mr. Tok. Seems like he is demanding. Asthma is his excuse for not doing his part. For Mr. Tok, he really struggles with his asthma, so during shoots, we can't have him talk or walk for too long because he gets breathless quite easily. So actually, behind the scenes, Mr. Tok doesn't take any handouts, and in fact, he even uses his own money to treat the producer to a meal after shoot.
他做人也是不要吃你们的，你请他多几次他会请回给你。
After the series aired, many people who recognize him on the streets will actually offer to give him some money, but he has been refusing all of them.
There's one job here.
What kind of job are you looking for?
Lipster or a container.
I just feel the volunteers and social workers working tirelessly and ensuring that these people get a shelter over their heads is really commendable. Shout out to Vincent for really having the patience to attend to Mr. Tok. The social workers, shelter managers and the befrienders, they were instrumental to the making of this documentary. These people have a long existing relationship with our profiles. They know what's the best way to work with them. So many times we would turn to them for help. And they were constantly giving us advice on how to interact with our profiles sensitively. A big thumbs up for Anthea. Seems like she really loves her job. So for example, even after Madam Yo left the S3P to a transition shelter, I know that her shelter manager Anthea would still call and check in on her regularly to make sure that she is doing well.
I'm very happy that Madam Yo is leaving and she don't want her to come back because it's for the better. 你会想念这边吗？
我会想念你啦。
This tells me they really care for the homeless people. They really want to see them have a stable housing. In terms of updates after the series aired, for Darius, what I understand is that he is still moving between friends' places, and currently Mr. Tok is going to job fairs, actively seeking employment because he believes in being able to support himself. So Madam Yo is still living in the transitional shelter, but I've got some good news recently. I heard that she'll be registering for her marriage with Mr. Ho very soon in hopes of being able to apply for a rental flat as a couple. For Susana's family, they have moved into a rental flat of their own.
Hamad is still living in the bird shed, but he shared with me that he's been thinking a lot more about his housing situation, and I think he's realized the importance of having a roof over his head.
When you saw yourself on the show, how did you feel?
I see me, I'm very happy. Last time people also don't know me. Because the three women helping me, I now become popular. They all must know everything, my story, all my life. Not every people is rich. This one stay, not permanent stay. For temporary can. You all three women is very, very nice to me. Asking friend come. Now electric with them. My target is rental house. Because house is very important. I am very happy. Thank you very much to you all.
I'm happy to share that since the series aired, Roselan has moved into a rental flat.
Assalamualaikum. I never see before L block have the water heater. This is the first time in my life. Macam heran lah gitu kan, happy kan. Aku rasa ni aku nak bikin tak aku punya tempat charge bateri lah kan. Can some rest at home, so I wait for my battery full. Now I have my own house. I still work Grab but for part time only lah. Sebab saya nak permanent kerja lah. Untuk kira bayar sewa, bayar apa. Kira bila kita nak pergi kerja, nak balik, ada rumah. So now it's a new life for me. I get the house.
My biggest takeaway from doing this series is that homelessness is just a low period in one's life. So what's important is to understand what are the support that they really need to be able to pull them out from this low point.
I hope that when viewers watch this program, they will realize that homelessness is not just about not having a home. It involves a lot of different circumstances for different people. It's really not a one-size-fits-all solution at the end of the day.
If you'd like to volunteer to help the homeless, these are some of the befriender groups that we have worked with. And these are some of the other befriender groups that you can reach out to.
Thanks for watching. Remember to hit the subscribe button and watch more CNA Insider on YouTube.